The first part of this example asks students to rewrite the equation in vertex form. So here is the original equation in standard form. And again, you're being asked to rewrite it in vertex form. So the first step is to take this constant and move it to the opposite side. When I move a positive 32 to the opposite side, it becomes negative. The second step, because the leading coefficient is not 1, I'm going to divide or factor out a negative 4 on the right-hand side. Negative 4 divided by negative 4 is 1. Bring down the x squared. Negative 8 divided by negative 4 is 2. Bring down the x. Okay, so now we are going to look at this b value, and we're going to divide b by 2. So I'm going to come off to the side here. 2 divided by 2 equals 1, and it is positive. And now I have to go back and fill in this position. This goes back to what we learned on Friday. So I need to take this value and square it. 1 squared is 1. Draw an arrow from the negative 4 to the 1, illustrating that we need to distribute. So the value that I actually placed on this side is negative 4, since negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. To keep this equation balanced, this value also has to be placed on the left-hand side. The last step is to move the negative 36 over. It was negative. When it comes back over, it becomes positive. These are equivalent equations. This is standard form. This is vertex form. So the first part of tomorrow's quiz is rewrite in vertex form. Then after you rewrite it in vertex form, you're going to state what it reveals. This problem reveals that there is a vertex at negative 136. It reveals that the parabola opens downward. And lastly, often the most difficult for students, is since this number is greater than 1, we say it vertically stretches by a factor of 4, not negative 4. The negative told us it opens downward. Those are the first two tasks. The third task is we're going to go back to this original equation in standard form, and we're going to rewrite it in factored form. Now, as you recall from the last class period, not all quadratic equations are factorable, but we're going to test this to see if it is. So I'm looking at negative 4, negative 8, and 32. And I realize I can divide each by negative 4. Negative 4 divided by negative 4 is 1. Negative 8 divided by negative 4 is 2. Bring down the x. And positive 32 divided by negative 4 is negative 8. Okay, so we're going to kind of forget about this negative 4 right now. We are focused on the trinomial inside. So what multiplies to give you negative 8 and can combine to give you positive 2? Is it possible to come up with two integers? And it is. Integers would be x plus 4 and x minus 2. In the previous class, students said, well, do I still need to do bottoms up? Remember, if this number, leading coefficient, is a 1, doing bottoms up does not change anything, okay? So this is what we have. We have rewritten from standard form into factored form, also known as intercept form. What does this reveal? It reveals that you have, bless you, you have x-intercepts at negative 4, 0 and positive 2, 0. It reveals that it opens downward. And and it reveals that it vertically stretches by a factor of 4. Okay, on the next page we are going to do a very simple graph. So I'm going to write down the original problem. This is in standard form. This is the same equation in vertex form. And again, the same equation in factored or intercept form. So a very simple graph here. And what are the key features you need to graph? First, let's go with the vertex. I'm going to go to negative 136. Now let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So here's 36, and I meant to go over 1. Let's rewrite that. So there's a vertex of negative 136. The next thing is if you can go back to the standard form and circle the constant, that will always represent the y-intercept. So go to 32. And I'm going to graph the two x-intercepts, a negative 4 and positive 2. Now as a reminder, as this is going down, you're also being pulled to the left, and it's going down and being pulled to the right. That's why it's going down at a diagonal on the left and right hand side. The domain. There is no restrictions how far it goes to the left or how far it goes to the right, written in standard notation form, interval notation. The range, always starting with the smaller value. There's no limit how far it goes down. There is a limit how high it goes. It goes up to 36. And then we're going to do end behavior. So we're going to analyze the graph at the far left and right. And we want to describe what's happening in the y direction. So as I go to the far left, and I'll move this up so you can see. As I go to the far left, I can see the arrows pointing down. I'm going to be moving down. And as I go to the far right, again the arrow is going down. The last thing you're going to be asked to do in tomorrow's quiz is to you need to solve algebraically, and you're going to either use the quadratic formula, or you can use the method completing the square. Either method works. And in either case, you're going to solve for x given a quadratic equation, okay? So as a reminder, if we look up above, remember that we have 4 different terms we've learned that represent this point. X-intercept, solutions, we may say answers, zeros. Can anybody else think of another one? And roots, right. So we know the answer is negative 4 and positive 2. So I'm going to come off to the side and write negative 4 and positive 2. I know that these are the two answers I want to achieve. It is your choice which one to use. If you choose to use quadratic formula, you will have to have this formula memorized. It will not be given to you. I'm going to go through and do this using the completing the square method. Okay, so that's the method I'm going to use. So I'm going to write down, and we're going to go from this. Here's what I have. So it was y equals. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to set this equal to 0. Okay, my first step is to move 32 to the opposite side. The next step is to factor out a negative 4. Negative 4 divided by negative 4, negative 8 divided by negative 4. Again, this is an example of completing the square. Now I divide by negative 4. Take this b value and divide it by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And then we're going to square this value. So 1 squared is 1. What I do to the left, I need to keep the equation balanced with the value I put here. So 1, adding 1, I need to also add 1 to the opposite side. To remove the square, I'm going to square root both sides, recognizing there will be two answers. The square root of 9 is 3. Now I'm going to move it 1 over. It was positive. When it goes over, it becomes negative, and it goes in front of the plus or minus. One time I'll add, and the second time I will subtract. These are the exact same answers we received when we used factored form and it revealed the x-intercepts were 2, 0 and negative 4, 0.